Let's continue with our John 1 series. So far, we have seen that John makes the case for the Trinity, for Jesus being God and not a mere man, and for him being the Creator. Today, we will see as we read on that he also pulls the rug from under the feet of the Calvinist false claim that regeneration precedes faith. They must say that because of their doctrine of total depravity. If man is unable to believe the gospel, as this tulip point states, then there is no other way than to twist the word in order to be able to keep up their unbiblical claims. As we will see in this case, they twist the clear statements made right around. So let's start reading. We begin with verse 10. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. This is talking about the true light that was mentioned in the verse prior, Jesus. Again, he is referred to as the Creator. It is not astonishing that the world in general did not know him. But let's continue to read. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. Now, that is something that Calvinists cannot explain. If you are among the elect, God's own, then you will receive him. Their problem is that they equate election with salvation, but this is not how this term is used in the Bible. You can be among the elect and not believe. My last post is about this topic. I discuss 2 Timothy 2 verse 10 there. I will link it in the video description. God chooses groups of people for a special purpose, but this does not mean that each individual of this group automatically becomes a believer. As I also showed in the post, the main group that are called the elect in the Bible is the people of Israel. This is what verse 11 in our chapter means. Jesus came to his own people, the elect, and yet they did not receive him. This is speaking of the majority of the people and the religious leaders. It does not mean that individuals didn't receive him and get saved. Let's keep reading, verse 12. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name. So there were those who received him. Remember that at the beginning of the chapter, John made the case that Jesus is the Word. And that is exactly the combination we find in numerous verses, receiving the Word. Two examples. Acts 11 verse 1. Now the apostles and brethren who were in Judea heard that the Gentiles had also received the word of God. Or 1 Thessalonians 2 verse 13. For this reason we also thank God without ceasing, because when you received the word of God which you heard from us, you welcomed it not as the word of men, but as it is in truth, the word of God, which also effectively works in you who believe. So, receiving him, as John 1 says, equals receiving the word. Christ is the word. This word must first be heard, as Paul details in his letter to the Thessalonians. Now, what happens to those who, after having heard the word, receive it? John explains that they are given the right, or other translations say power, to become children of God. The children of God are those who have received the word. John then defines those children of God using a different term. They are those who believe in his name. What we can conclude from this is that receiving equals believing. Now, the Calvinists say, look at what verse 13 says. Who were born, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. See, they say. Here, it clearly says that a man cannot save himself, he cannot believe the gospel, he is unable to. It is all God's doing. Now, first of all, no Bible believer negates the fact that the new birth is 100% God's doing. Nobody can make themselves be born again. But what exactly is God's doing here? Don't let yourself be bamboozled. According to the Calvinist claim, the verse reads as follows: who believed, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. This is what they say. It is God's doing that man believes. However, this is not what the verse says. No surprise there, they do that all the time. So again, what does the verse say? Who were born, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. So what the verse actually says is that the will of the flesh or of man is not what makes a person born again. They are born of God after they receive Jesus Christ, Christ who is the Word. That is why 1 Peter 1 verse 23 states, having been born again, not of corruptible seed, but incorruptible, through the Word of God, which lives and abides forever. Does it say born again by irresistible grace, before understanding and believing the Word? No. It says born again through the Word. I discussed this verse in detail in my recent post with the sunflower image. I will link it in the description too, as well as the post about the two possible reactions to the offer of the gift of salvation, receiving and rejecting. As you can see, you got to look closely at the biblical text in order to not fall for their distortions. Let's now recap both verses, getting the order straight. Receiving Jesus comes first. Second, being given the right or the power to become children of God. What must happen in order for someone to become a child of God? Right, a birth. This spiritual birth or regeneration is all God's doing. Now, in question form, to whom is the right to become children of God given? To those who believe. Belief must be in place before this right is given. How do you become a child of God? You are born of God. When does the new birth happen? Right after believing. It's very simple. It couldn't be any clearer. Remember that the devil is the one who confuses people. In the garden, God's instructions were very clear. The first thing the serpent did was sow confusion regarding what exactly he had said. What's of utmost importance? Knowing the word and knowing it precisely.